Or this time at the Quick Speed Shop. Look at this, I'm back at the backyard gas station. Oh, I'm prepping for concrete. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do it. We're gonna start right now. All right, hey, welcome back to the Quick Speed Shop. I'm Josh, and I'm in the shop. The lights are off, it's nice and cool in here, but we're gonna go out in the sun. It's backyard gas station day. We're gonna start working on that. If you haven't seen the build, I'll put a link up top. I built a 1940s style gas station, all out of old barnwood on the front, and it's got an overhang for pumps and stuff. And what I'm working on today is forming the concrete apron that's going to go under the overhang. So I've got some 2x6s, I got some mesh, I got some conduit for my gas pump electric. Let's go down to the backyard gas station and start forming. All right, so here's the gas station behind me. Like I said, here's the overhang. And all this barnwood on the front here is vintage barnwood I got from my uncle's house that was in the basement. It was chair rail height. That's why it's cut to this height, but it was just perfect enough to make the whole front of this. And some of these boards are 19 inches wide. It's really old barnwood. I'm going to guess from the 1870s maybe. And I had a whole enough to build the front of the gas station here. So what I want to do is make concrete out here all the way back to the building. It's going to be 20 by 11. It's going to come out to the overhang. There's going to be 2 pumps here. They're going to go under the overhang eventually. I've got a signpost over here. I'll show you in a minute around the corner that we put in, made out of old riveted storm pipe. And essentially there's going to be 2 pumps here and a loopster and all the stuff that you would have seen at a vintage gas station. So I've got some 2x6s. We're going to go out and form up the concrete here. Blow all these leaves out. Do a little bit of electric with some PVC, and then transition to rigid to come up the pipe. Come up the post with rigid pipe, and then I'll be able to have lighted globes and stuff on my gas pump. So let me open up the van. I got all the stuff in the back. Got the boogie van. Ooh, it's hot in here. Sounds like hot boogie van action. I'm going to give you a pro builder's tip here. This is a pro tip from the Quick Speed Shop. I went to Lowe's and I bought lumber and the wire mesh and stuff. That's a big mistake because the big box stores will absolutely rape you on the price of everything, like PVC couplings, PVC pipe, absolutely ridiculous prices. I usually go to like a supply house. Then I was in a jam and I didn't, but those wire mesh pieces that are, I don't know, 4x8 I think, or 4x6. No, 4x8. They were like $26 a piece. I'm pretty sure I can get them at the supply house for like 5x10 piece of wire mesh for like $8 or something. And the price, I wouldn't have bought them, but the price wasn't on the shelf, so I threw them in the van. I threw them on the cart. Couldn't believe it, and I should have returned them. Maybe I will return them. I don't know, but I'm already here. It's too far away to get the stuff. But anyways, like PVC stuff, I can get electrical supply stuff way cheaper. Like a fitting that's $1.50 at Home Depot or Lowe's is like 8 cents at the electrical supply house. And I shorted myself time-wise, so I was stuck there anyways, getting a couple of 2x6s, and I bought everything. Big mistake. Always try to find yourself a supply house. You can buy the stuff for like, you know, 1/3 of the price of Lowe's or Home Depot. They freaking absolutely gouge homeowners to buy stuff that's like industrial. Okay, I got my first 2x6 over here. And what I did was I cut a 1-foot notch in the end of it to go over the end of the building so I can screw it down, and I cut the notch so I can have room to maneuver with the siding. I want to pitch the concrete away just a little bit. So this slides up here. I can tell you the stone is too high here right now. But yeah, that's like level, but it's got to go down about 1 inch at the building. And I've got gap at the end, so I've got to rake a little stone out of here. These are 2x6s are 5.5 inches tall. Okay, I'm just touching a line on the level there, so that gives me a little bit of fall away from the building. I want to put 1 screw in here. The top of this is lined up. If you can see it, right here is where the top of the concrete's going to be. So I've just got 1 screw in there for now. I'm going to leave it until we get everything lined up and trued up, and I'll put a couple more screws in. But we got enough fall here. When I get this thing screwed in, I'll backfill the stone up around the forms a little bit. But there's one side. Let me zip the other side on, and then we'll get out the here. We'll form the front of this and true it up with a. Luckily, this is easy to true up. I can just measure the post side to side, make this dimension match, and then this will be square to the front of the building. Put some stakes in, screw it down, and we'll have it pretty much all formed up, and we can start laying the mesh in here. And while I am doing that, once you guys come over here, what I'm going to do is add a lean-to addition. This white mark here, and there's another one back there where the dirt ends. I'm going to add a 16 foot by 10 feet wide lean-to off this, and this is going to be all stone here. And my tow truck will park in here, and it'll face out, and the wall will be, I got a little bit more barn what I think to do the front edge, but then the side and the back wall will be the charcoal gray tin. But this will just be a stoned in 10 by 16 lean-to addition. So the tow truck will face out. You'll see it like in the driveway here next to the sign post. This will be a Richfield sign here for the Richfield station, probably about 12 feet in the air. Off this is an old riveted piece of storm pipe that I added a bottom section to with some sheet metal, and it's 4.5, almost 5 feet tall. And this will be all full of concrete and have some studs in here for the signpost anchor. So this is really cool. If you haven't seen old pipe, this has got to be from the teens or 20s. It was dug up down back home. My dad found it one day when the creek wrecked the bridge. Found this old piece of pipe. We torched off some sections, and I'm going to turn it into my sign pole base. Okay, here we go. It's all formed up here, and I've driven pins around. I've got the board screwed on there. This thing is level this way, but it does pitch the bubble touching the line both ways, so it's pitching away from the building. One thing I did do was I took some old 5/4 deck boards, and I added a ledger board on here because the concrete was going to be under the siding, and if the concrete ever heaved, it could have got into the siding and done some deals. You can see the boards aren't cut straight because this is all random barn wood that I had. That was, some of it was a little short, so the bottom edge is all goofy, but it'll be fine. I can maybe make a molding for it or something later. There's going to be an expansion joint that goes and nails onto that ledger board I just put on there. So it'll be like the wafery 4-inch expansion joint or whatever it is. The stone is a little low on this side, and right now I'm going to take a string line, which I've got mounted in the center. I'm going to string line over. I was shooting for 5 inches of concrete, and what I have is about, just roughly measuring, about 4.5 over here. Then it's like this, there's like a hole here, and it's like 6. So you don't really want to put uncompactable material under concrete. Like this crusher run needs to be compacted with the fines in it, but I have some 1 and 2 stone, which doesn't really need to be compacted. That just kind of goes in there. You can't really compact it. So I'm going to shovel some over here. If it's really low, if it's like more than 6, I'm going to bring it up a little bit. I brought up around the edge of the building here just a little bit. But if it's like 5.5 or whatever, I'll probably just leave it. But let's put the string line out and get an idea of what the grades are now that the boards are on here. So we got here. So here under the pumps, I got 4 there. How much tension I got in there? That's all right. Ooh, only about 3.5 there. But then I go back to 5.5. So it's a little high here in the middle. I want more than, that's 3.5. I want more than that. I'm gonna have to rake some of this. I'm gonna rake some of this over here. That tells me right now, that's a bummer right off the bat. I don't mind the 4 out here where the pumps are. That's fine. That's not gonna be driven on, but I plan on driving and storing stuff under here on the concrete. I want it closer to 5, just for extra action. So we got here, got 5, just over 5 there. It is, that's about 4 there. So we're going in the right direction. And then 5 again. So I got a little high spot right here in the center, which I can see. I'm gonna rake a little of this stone over here, and I'll probably use my hand tamper and tamp it down a little bit. It looks a little better just eyeballing it. Okay, we got 4.5, 5, about 4 there, which is okay. There. Brought this area up. Let's say this was 4.5 right here. And about 4.5. A little more of that. Still, I'd like to get it up another 1/2 inch. Rake it over this way. This is easily still 5 over here, so I'm just going to rake a little more of that center over here, dress it up, and then I think we're going to be about good with the grade. We can start to let's lay out the PVC for the electric. We'll take this post out and then lay out the PVC conduits. Okay, I've gone and I've marked out on the stone where I want the 2 conduits to come up in the stone, and I've put pieces of rebar there to zip tie the uprights to so they stay in place. There's 2 schools of thought here. You can put the conduit in the stone, under the stone, or you can just like put it on top of the stone and have it be in the concrete. I think for what I'm doing here, it'll be fine. Like bigger industrial buildings, it's usually in the stone, but for what I'm doing, it's fine. So let's start over here at the post where the electric's going to come in. I'm going to make this old school. I'm going to use a rigid conduit here, which is threaded, and I've got a, I think it's FA, female adapter, yeah, FA. The threads on here, it's this all 3/4. You just thread this on tight. Boom. And this will allow me to switch to 3/4 inch PVC. I've got my rigid, and I got a little nipple here, and then I got a, I think it's called a Jake on here. This will give me a little pull point if I ever have issues in the ground. And I'm going to also transition to EMT conduit. But I think what I want to do is just mount this right on the side of the column like this. I have a 45. It will get me where I got a B here. Something like that. And then this is going to come up here like this. Something like that. That'll work. Yeah, just like that. And this one, actually I need to double it up because it's going to go down and make the electric up in the light pole base, and I'll go to the next one. So there's going to be 2 45 or 2 90s here. Let me get some pieces cut out. We'll stick this together. Apparently I didn't bring a battery that's got charge in it. Great. Great. Next question is, can I get the PVC can open? Oh man. All right, hold on. I gotta go get some pliers to get this open. Now, ah. Just like that. Oh, dang. About 4 inches too shy. All right, we got another stick. There we go. That's a couple inches above the concrete. The concrete should be here, so this will be proud of the concrete enough where I can put a coupling on it if I have to. But I shouldn't have to there, and this will be under the mesh here. Concrete. So boom. There we go. Electric, ready for action. So the next step is here on the ledger board. I have some expansion joint material, which is this fibrous material here, and it's an expansion. I'm just going to use some roofing nails and nail it to there, and then I'm going to cut little pieces and nail around the post just so it can slip on the in case the concrete, you know, freezes underground and moves. It gives it just some place to slip. So I'm just going to nail that on real fast, and then we'll get the mesh out and mesh this thing up. Okay, I redid the electric here. I thought about it, and I don't want the conduits in the concrete just in case it does lift it or whatever, you know, heave in the wintertime. So what I did is I cut through the fabric, I dug down into the dirt, and I've lowered the conduit into the dirt. I put some couplings on the PVC, so in case I need to extend it later, I can. But these are going to be sticking out of the concrete about 1 inch when it gets done. But now I can backfill, put a little bit of dirt around the conduit and then put the stone back on top of it. And then it'll just have the conduit coming straight out of the concrete. And I'm going to take a little bit of foam. I'm just going to tape some foam around it so it's got a barrier so the concrete can't stick to the conduit. That way if the slab does move, the conduit will not move with it. So I think that's a good plan, and I'll put a little foam over here on the rigid. I lowered that down about I don't know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So this will protect the conduit a little bit better. I feel a little bit better about this than just laying it in the slab. So I'm going to go ahead and backfill that, and then we'll do the mesh. Okay, it's a little bit while longer later, and I've switched my plan up here with a steel. I put my expansion joints on the post now. But what I'm using, these are called chairs, and these are left over from my pole barn build, and I think they're set for 3 inches high, but I've been hitting them with a hammer and flattening them down to like 2 inches. And then over here, I've got some rebar that I've had that I saved from a job a long time ago. It's number 8 bar, and I'm just going to do this slab all with rebar instead of that mesh. That mesh from Lowe's was so expensive at $26 a sheet. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to take it back and get my money back because that was absolutely ridiculous. So I'm going to return that to them, and I'm just going to use rebar. This will be better than that cheap junk Lowe's mesh anyways. So I put the bar out here on the chairs, and I've got some of these 90-degree or 180 or whatever they are, 270-degree hoops. I'm hooping here on the edges where I could potentially drive in and out of this just for a little extra action on the edge. But yeah, I'm pretty much just going to go and bar my way over. They're about 2 foot on center-ish. I'm just eyeballing it. And I got enough chairs. I got a whole pile of chairs. I can chair all the way out here. And I'm just going to put rebar here. And it should be way more than heavy duty enough for this little slab out here. This is overkill, but I had all this stuff for free pretty much now. So I'm going to return that expensive wire that I got. And 26 sheets times plus tax, so say 30 times 4, I'll get $120 back. So that's what I'm all about. Stashed this a long time ago. You know my saying, why trash it when you can stash it? I've had this stuff for, geez, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. I had to unbundle a whole bunch of things to get it out. It was hours and hours worth of work, but it's coming in handy now. So I'm going to keep going, Kirk, and get this all done here, and we'll take a look and finish up the video. All right, bam, there we go, all done. Like I said, I used the one piece of good mesh I had, 5x10, just in the center here. If you're wondering what that is, I had that temporary support under here, and I'm going to put a 2-inch steel post that I'm going to have some brackets welded to make like a sign hanging area. and I want it to also support the roof, but I didn't want it pushing on the slab in case the slab heaved and cracked the slab or whatever. So I set this stainless steel, it's like a, I don't know, they're throwing it out at work. It's part of a ventilation system or something, I don't know, it was in the dumpster. But anyways, this will allow me, this is right, I use a string line, made the top of this right flush to the concrete, so I'll pour the inside, and then the post can sit on that, and then it can, in theory, move independently from the slab, and hopefully not make a stress point crack it. It'll be like a concrete footing in the slab. So I threw that in there. I got my conduits wrapped in foam, so the foam will allow expansion contraction around them. Hopefully it won't suck them up and down if the slab moves. I got some foam like bougely wrapped on there. It's kind of ugly, but whatever, it's close enough. And plenty of rebar in here. It's number 8 bar. Like I said, these pieces were where I would drive in. Got a couple of them on there, but the thing is all formed up, ready to go. So it's going to be a couple weeks to the concrete video comes out. I just got this ready. You got to wait like 2 weeks to get the concrete, and I got a couple of guys coming over to do it, and we'll be filming that. I'll be helping, and we'll pour this, and then when that cures, I'll be able to get the gas pumps out. I got to build one, but I think the 6-foot Richfield pump might be over here. I'm not sure which. But anyways, there's going to be 2 pumps, and there's going to be lubesters and oil cans and all kinds of nonsense displayed out here, signs and tire displays and all kinds of stuff. So wait a couple weeks for this to cure, but this is going to be awesome. And then in the summertime, this is nice and cool in here. I can have, once I get the shelves up and stuff and get everything out of the way, I can store some lawn chairs and stuff in here and come out, hang out under the patio in the shade, and just have like a cool little neat hangout area at the backyard gas station. That's it. I appreciate everybody watching, and we'll see you next time. Working on something, not sure what. But it's 80 degrees out again today. I think I'm going to get some old cars out. So probably see me busting some old cars out and moving them around. But stay tuned. Come back next time. We'll see you again. Bam. Here working on the backyard gas station here at the Quick Speed Shop.